Hey guys, a little while ago Chubbybots put out a tutorial on making a mech suit. Now this mech suit was just the standard issue mech suit, and you go ahead and add pieces to it to make it into a full-blown mech. Now the other thing with this particular mech suit is it had a little feature where you could add your own minifigure, which I thought was pretty cool. So yeah, I liked it so much that I thought I'd make one. Now I had to wait till I got a couple of pieces, mainly this piece here, but when I did, I thought, well, what type of mech could I make? And people who know this channel would know that I have a Kai's Fire Mech. And I thought to myself, that's very interesting. I wonder if I could actually make a Fire Mech out of this little mech suit. It's taken me a little bit of time to work on it, but I think it's time for Kai to leave his Fire Mech and sit into his new one. Now this is a mini Fire Mech version. I tried to make the best version I could with the pieces I had, and I'm just wondering how you think it turned out. Now obviously it's just a mini Fire Mech, and these pieces are fairly sort of standard, and I swapped a few of the pieces out for red colouring. Added some flamethrowers in here, there's some tanks on the back, I've got a couple of flags, and the canopy does lift up and down. We just need to tilt these oxygen tanks back a little bit so we can flip that open, and then we can flip this down and Kai can hop out. So what do you think of this little mini Fire Mech? Do you like the idea? Do you want to see how to convert the standard mech suit into the Fire Mech? Now the mech suit tutorial is available on Chubbybots' website, so I'll put a link down below, but let's go ahead and transform it into a mini Kai's Fire Mech. So let's do this. Okay, so you want to see how to put together Kai's mini Fire Mech. Well, the best way I could show you this is to have them side by side. So this is the original and this is the upgraded version. So let's have a look at the two in comparison. Now as you see here, we've replaced the back here with a red piece, and at the front we've gone ahead and used some 1x2 jumpers. Now we're using one of these grills and a black tile just at the front. For the foot, we're just using these curved pieces and a 1x2 tile, and that just sits on top. Now the other thing that's changed here is we're just using a black 1x2 with handle, just because that sort of gives more effect for the actual toes rather than having grey. So obviously you want to go ahead and make two of those. Now for the upper legs, we've just gone ahead and added pieces. So this is the original here, and this is the extra bits we've added. So we just take that off, we can have a bit of a closer look. We're using one of these pieces here, and that just sits on like that. And on the side we're just using a 1x1 plate and a 1x1 slope, and they're in transparent just because that's all I had. So that just clips onto there, and just at the front I'm using a 1x2 tile. So you want to go ahead and obviously do one on the other side too. Now for this next piece, it's just a 1x2 with hole. To flash that up a little bit, I've actually just added a 1x2, it's in transparent in red, and just put another one of these little grills on here. Now for the main body, I really haven't made many changes to that. I've added a little extra grill at the back here. Yeah, and this front bit's a little bit different, but I think that's how the original is supposed to be anyway. Now the arms have changed quite a bit. So what you'll see here, we'll just take this section off here, which is the gun. That's actually just a black cone with a fire element. And this looks like maybe a fire hose or something like that from maybe one of the fire sets. So that sort of makes up part of the gun. Then what we've done is we've taken off this piece here and these side pieces, and we've gone ahead and added a few extra pieces. So we've left one side piece on here and put a 1x2 tile there, and this strange looking slope piece. Now on the other one here we've actually added a 1x2 jumper, and I'm using these little binoculars, and that sort of creates a bit of a gun effect. So just on the end here we can see we're just using a 1x2 transparent tile. Now for the lower arm, well, I just found a few extra pieces, so let's have a look at those. I've just added a 1x1 slope and a 1x1 with these holes in the side, and it's just got a tile on the top like that. So that just sits down like that. Now this piece here is fairly strange. You could just use any other slope piece that you have, but I think this one looked pretty effective for some sort of like cuffs on the actual sleeve. So, and obviously the fire piece just sort of sits in like that. Now you want to go ahead and obviously make two of those and make sure that they're just in opposite sides. Now for the front of the Fire Mech, I'm using one of these V type patterns, and it's a 2x3 on top of that. I'm using one of these 1x2s with a little groove in it, and that gives that little effect at the bottom. And then we just go ahead and use a 1x2 with jumper and put a little grey one there, and obviously a couple of 1x1 slopes. Now for the top bit, it's a little bit more complicated. Let's have a look and see what we've actually got here. So I'll just take that piece off there, and I'll take these pieces off here. So I found these pieces, sort of a canopy piece. It's like a 4 going into a 2. I've added 2 transparent 1x2 plates, and on either side I've actually got a bit of a combination here. So this is the standard piece. I've added a 1x2 transparent tile, a 1x3, another 1x2 transparent tile here, and then just a stud. And when that actually sits there like that, it actually sort of grooves in. Now it would be nice to curve that around, but I didn't have any pieces like that. So you want to go ahead and do the same with the other side, and that just sits on like that. So you want to make sure that these little handles are at the back. Now the only other thing that I've done for this mini Fire Mech is built these tanks at the back. So I found these elements here, they're like flexible hoses, and I thought, oh, how can I do this? So what I've done is I've used one of these 1x2 with handles and some more clips, and I'm using these little bricks here with sort of beveled edges on them. I'm using a couple of those and popping that on like that. So that gives the appearance of some tanks. I thought about using larger round pieces, but I think this sort of fits the right size. And then I'm using a 1x1 cone, and I found some of these long poles here, so that was enabling me to put a couple of flags on the top. So we'll pop those ones back on there, and let's go ahead and assemble the Fire Mech. So we'll just start with the feet and upper legs, so they just clip in like that, so that's no problems there at all. And we'll just grab this piece here, and that just sits under here like that. And then we push this pin into this section here. So that's the basic torso and legs. Now we'll just put on this shield on the front, and that just clips in like that. So it's fairly robust. Now for the arms, well, obviously they're only going to go in one way, so we'll just clip those on, and we'll clip one on this side too. Now I think I've got the arms around the wrong way. So the arm actually goes over this side, and this arm will go in over this side. Okay, so you want to just make sure you press everything down so it's in nice and tightly, and that'll sit like that. Now I want to go ahead and put the backpack on, so I'll go around, turn this around here, and that actually just sits in like that there. So it enables you to tilt this backwards and forwards, And you'll need to do that to raise the canopy. So we'll just pop that back on there like that. Now we'll put the hoses on last. They could be a little bit longer, but it'll do the job. Okay, so we'll just clip this canopy on like this. And it just clicks into place. Now I just need to move this back because I've lost the shield. And we'll pop that back on there. So we'll just tilt that up and the shield will just go on in the front here. Okay, so this is the Fire Mech, and we'll just pop Kai in like that. And now we'll just lower this canopy down like that. So that is the Fire Mech. The last thing we need to do is to carefully tilt this back here, and then we can connect up these hoses. So the Fire Mech works best when these guys are actually attached like that. Now we could have gone ahead and put bigger hoses on. That would have been really helpful. But you do what you can with what you got. So that's one fire hose there, and that's the other fire hose there. Now his shoulder just came off. So that is the Fire Mech. And this design was built on Chubbybots' Mech Suit. So again, I'll put the tutorial down below, and we'll just bring this guy in for a little bit of a comparison. But I think it turned out okay. So do you like Kai's mini Fire Mech? Well, I had a lot of fun building it, so hopefully you did. So that's all I've got time for today. Please subscribe, and bye for now.